Hey, Amanda here. Today we are chatting about something that is super important and probably not discussed often enough, and that is the gap between hearing your intuition and actually doing something about it. This is a place where I currently live and where I'm currently trying to learn to move through, and I have a feeling a lot of you are there as well. So go ahead and take a listen and let's move forward together. Welcome to Oracle Mornings, your daily ritual for inner connection and soulful insight. Each morning, we draw a card together to inspire your day with intention, reflection, and a touch of magic. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or simply seeking a moment of peace, you're in the right place. So take a breath, open your heart, and let's begin. Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Oracle Mornings. I'm your host, Amanda Johnson. I want to start today with a scenario that I think might feel very familiar. And it's definitely a spot that I get stuck at times as well. And so I thought some of you might be there as well. There are times when you might get a feeling about something. Maybe it's a decision you've been sitting with, or a direction that keeps quietly pulling at you, or even a sense that something in your life needs to change. The feeling seems clear in your body, your gut, maybe even your heart. You just know. But then your brain shows up, that little voice, and it starts asking all these questions. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm just projecting? What if this doesn't work out the way I think it will? What will people say? What if I regret it? What if it's just PMS? And so you wait. You gather more information. You ask more people. Maybe you pull more oracle cards, make more lists. But that feeling is still there, patient and quiet, waiting for you to catch up. So today we are talking about that gap, the gap between hearing your intuition and actually doing something about it. Because if you remember the earlier episode, it was about learning to hear your intuition. This one is about learning to trust it enough to actually move forward. And I want to say this up front. This is not an episode that's going to encourage you to be reckless or impulsive, but rather about recognizing the difference between the voice that knows and the fear that argues, and then learning slowly to let the knowing lead. So, why hearing your intuition is only half of the work. A lot of conversation around intuition stops at the recognition stage. You learn to get quiet, you learn to notice the signal, and maybe even learn to tell the difference between intuition and anxiety. That's all extremely valuable work. But what do you do once you've heard it? Because for a lot of people, and especially at the beginning of their spiritual journey, hearing the intuition isn't actually the hard part. The tough part is trusting it enough to act when everything around you is telling you to wait, think more, be careful, just make sure, just check with someone. That gap between knowing and doing is where most spiritual growth either happens or stalls. And it's also where a lot of self-doubt lives. You guys, I'm so familiar with this. I live in it a lot, and it's something I'm trying to move beyond so I can help you learn as well. But I thought it might be interesting for us to all show up here together. Because intuition without action is just a feeling. It's the movement, the smaller, large step that you take in the direction that you were nudged that actually starts to change things. And that's where the magic enters. So think back to a time when you followed a gut feeling and it led somewhere good. Chances are you didn't have certainty before you took that step. You just had the feeling, but you moved anyway. And that is the practice. One example of that specifically, my family and I were on vacation recently, and they had a bingo game going where the jackpot was, fairly large. My kids were interested in playing. I said, right, yeah. I don't usually feel like, gambling or taking chances in that kind of way, but let's do it. It'll be fun. And the cards were not cheap. And the line was long to get one. I even told my husband, feel free to get out of line if you want. We don't actually have to do this. But just a moment later, he showed up with the cards. All four of us sat down, and I just felt like we were supposed to be there for some reason. And we did end up being one of the three winners and won like $800 or something that really felt incredible in that moment. And again, I was just like, it really feels like I'm supposed to be here, so we're going to sit this one in. That's just one small example of what following those intuitive hits take. And sometimes you don't have time to get caught up in the research or the small voice in your head, and you just move and it works out in the best way. And speaking of things that get in the way, when tuition is available to us and we've done the work to hear it, why is it still so hard to follow it? Let's name some of the real things that block it. The first being fear of being wrong. It's a big one. We've been conditioned from a very young age to value being right, to gather evidence, get consensus, minimize risk. Acting on intuition asks us to do something that feels counterintuitive or countercultural, to move before the evidence is complete. Your intuition has access to information your logical mind doesn't, because it's processing everything you've ever experienced, every subtle signal in your environment, every pattern your conscious mind missed. It's not less reliable than logic, but it's often more reliable. It just speaks a different language. A second block can be needing external validation. This one is like number one in my book. When we don't fully trust ourselves yet, we outsource the decision. We ask everyone we know what they think. We look for someone to give us permission. And sometimes the more we ask around, the more confused that we end up, because everyone has a different answer based on their own experience and not ours alone. And other people's input definitely has a place and can be extremely helpful. But if you're asking 10 people the same question, hoping one of them will tell you what you already know, that's not research. That's actually avoidance. So you probably already know the answer. And if you're waiting for someone to say it, that's the piece you need to look at. A third block would be mistaking the discomfort of growth as a warning sign. This one is a bit subtle, but it is important. Not all discomfort is a stop sign. Sometimes the feeling that accompanies a true intuitive nudge is uncomfortable, and it's not because it's wrong, but because it's asking you to grow and move beyond the edge that you already know. It might ask you to take up more space or do something you've never done before. So learning to tell the difference between the discomfort that protects you and the discomfort that's growth and asking you to stretch is incredibly valuable. And it's one of the most valuable things you can develop on this spiritual journey. A fourth block, waiting for certainty that will never come. Certainty is rarely available before the step. It usually arrives after. So if you're waiting to feel completely sure before you move, you may be waiting a very long time. Intuition never comes with a guarantee, but comes with a sense of rightness, a quiet knowing, a pull in a certain direction. And that's what you're learning to trust, not certainty, but that pull for your own truth and your own alignment. Some people even say, clarity follows action. Once you start taking steps, the next step will show up for you. So what does acting on intuition actually look like? And I'd love to make this really practical, because I think sometimes a conversation around following your intuition can feel big and dramatic, like it always means quitting your job or ending a relationship or making some massive life leap. But sometimes it does mean those things. However, more often it can be much quieter than that. Acting on your intuition can look like sending the message you've been putting off. Or maybe you're reaching out to a friend because they popped into your mind and you feel the need to send them a message or give them a quick call, and you end up being just the person they need to hear from. Sometimes saying no to something that doesn't feel right, even though you can't explain why, is a really good one. Choosing the route that feels better, even though it might take longer. And starting something, maybe a project, before you feel ready. It's 1,000 small acts of trust before the big ones. And those small acts are how you build that trust muscle and to trust your intuition. You don't start by trusting it on the biggest decision of your life. You start by trusting it on the small ones. And then you watch what happens. In our previous episode about learning to hear your intuition, I believe I mentioned practicing with your eating. So when you go into your kitchen, maybe it's lunchtime, take a moment and just ask, body, what do you feel like today? And just see what pops into your mind first, and let your intuition lead you to that one small decision in your day, because again, you build that muscle. A practice that can help is, after you act on an intuitive nudge, note it down. What was the feeling? What did you do? And then what happened? Over time, you'll build a personal record of your intuition and action. And then that record becomes the evidence your logical mind, that little voice, needs to start finally stepping aside. And this is actually one of the things the Daily Oracle Journal was designed for, which I will chat about a little more later, because it helps with patterns, and oracle cards are a great way to start recognizing those patterns. So let's talk about a simple framework for moving forward. When you're in the moment of your intuition hit and you've got the feeling and the fear showing up alongside it, here's a simple way to work with it. Step 1, name what you're feeling, not what you're thinking. Get out of your head and into your body. Where do you feel the pull? Where do you feel the fear? They usually live in different places, your intuition and the fear. Intuition tends to feel quieter and more centered, like maybe you feel it right in your heart or in the middle of your belly, where fear tends to feel louder and more urgent. I know I tend to feel it right at my throat. Where you get choked up when you're about to cry, my throat starts tightening up like that when I feel the fear coming in. Step 2, ask, what's the smallest possible action I could take in the direction of this feeling? Not the whole leap, just the next right step. One email, one decision, one conversation. Intuition doesn't ask you to see the whole picture, just the next step. So what's that smallest act of trust available to you right now? And start there. Step 3, give yourself a time limit on the deliberation. This one's really interesting. Decide how long you're going to sit with a decision before you move. A day, 3 days, a week, whatever feels right for the size of the decision you're making. When the time is up, you act on what you know, not what you're certain of, what you know. Step 4, after you do move, take notice. Don't just act and move on, but pause and pay attention to what happens next. How do things unfold? How do you feel? Are there any doors that opened or any doors that closed? This is how you deepen the relationship with your intuition over time. You show it that you're paying attention, and then it responds in return. So let's move on to our card reading for the day. Today we are pulling a card from the Sacred Rebels Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And again, you may have heard me talk about this one recently, but it is guidance for living a unique and authentic life, which sounds amazing. And the card I pulled today is called Follow Your Own Rhythm. So go ahead, take a couple of deep breaths in and out. Let yourself arrive in this moment and make yourself ready to receive. Follow your own rhythm. Deep within, you are moved by an ancient, powerful force that cannot be tamed. It is the rising pulse of your connection to the life force. You feel it in your bones, in your blood, in your heart, and in your belly. When there is something dying within, you sense it falling away, no longer needed. You sense when it is time to rest and be patiently in transition. You feel the stirring of agitation and restlessness when new life calls you to create, to act, to step forward and to take a risk. You know that you march to your own beat, that no one else can tell you what your inner rhythms are, and that you must trust in your own timing. You cannot be rushed or forced, nor can you be held back when it is time to burst forth. Life celebrates and supports the natural rise and fall of your inner rhythms. This oracle brings you the special message that you cannot miss what you are destined for, nor will you gain anything by trying to push yourself. Trust in the life cycles within, and you will feel the perfect balance between effort and surrender, discipline and letting go. When it is time for the rhythm of rest, you will feel a natural slowing within and be drawn into contemplation and environments that are more gentle, spacious, or nourishing, and perhaps more peaceful. When the rhythm of play beats in your heart, you will reach out to others to connect, dance, converse, sing, make music, make love, and share your wildness. You will be drawn to uplifting groups and places where you can experience a positive, energetic exchange. Your needs will be met in harmony with your own rhythms. All that you will miss out on by trusting this is anxiety. What you will gain is peace. If you have also pulled the inner trust card or feel intuitively guided to read that message now, this oracle has the even stronger message for you that you must surrender your attachment to doing things the way that others think they should be done. Whether that be the hours that you sleep or the way you structure your day or your creative work. You must honor your need for rest and replenishment as well as your need for play. Sometimes an afternoon nap or trip to the beach will do far more for you than slogging away when you are mentally depleted and in need of rest. Sometimes you need to work when the energy is flowing, even though others may say it is too much and you must stop now. You are an empowered individual and you have the intelligence and wisdom to choose for yourself. Experiment with what works best for you and tailor your lifestyle so that it nurtures your best self into being. Go ahead and take a moment to reflect. This was already a beautiful card for this particular subject of taking action on what your intuition is sharing. And you may have heard me say in the card, if you've also pulled the inner trust card or drawn to read that message, that you should do so. And I did feel drawn to do so. So I'm going to share that one with you as well. And here it is. Inner trust. Though it may be cloaked and hidden, within you lies natural magnificence, vibrancy, and true uniqueness. The harder this is for you to believe, the more growth this oracle is offering you now. Your opportunity for growth lies in letting go of the need to hide yourself from the world and to let go of any doubt about the wonder of what lies within you. This oracle brings you the message that it is time for you to trust yourself and let the real inner you out from behind the veil. You are being assured that you can trust your intuition and your own sense of things. Sometimes what you sense will be love, and you will open your heart and move easily towards the source of that love, be it in the form of another person, a new career path, a project which you care deeply about and want to pursue, or a spiritual or creative practice that you are keen to explore. Sometimes what you sense will be more challenging than this and will ask something different of you. It might be that you sense fear and sabotage lurking within someone's intentions or in the situations around you. This oracle asks you to trust yourself to find the most authentic and self-loving way to deal with that. Perhaps you have drawn this card because you are unnecessarily holding yourself back out of fear or lack of belief in your ability to support and care for yourself, or in the importance of your need for self-expression and your relationships. The Oracle of Inner Trust comes to you with this guidance. You know what you are doing. You have enough wisdom and intuition to be able to place yourself more fully in the world, to take steps to unhide yourself. Even if you feel you have no clue about what is happening at a broader level in your life, even if you can't quite see the whole picture of what is taking place within you or around you, you still have all the wisdom and intuitive ability you need to take one step at a time and navigate your way through absolutely anything that life brings to your door. If you have been thinking of taking a leap of faith in doing things differently, whether in your personal life or your creative work, then this oracle brings a particular message to trust your instincts and go for it. This oracle comes at a time when the patterns of your life are shifting. You can take advantage of this shift and leap into an entirely new level of consciousness and experience. This is not a time for self-doubt or playing small. It is a time to get in touch with the courage, boldness, and daredevil within, and to take that step, big or small, into the future that is beckoning you forward. You have the wings to fly. Sometimes we don't realize it until we leap over the edge of what we have known and begin to soar into a new life. Go ahead and reflect on this message as well. These cards go beautifully together and relate so well to our trusting our intuition and trusting ourselves to take the actions necessary to move forward. What I also love is that this card can bring up some emotions, and you may have noticed as I was reading it, maybe you're feeling excited. Like, yes, it is time. I have been wanting to make this change in my life. I can trust myself. Other people might have a fear, like this feels too big. How can you tell me to leap? And that's actually one of the reasons why I created the journal I mentioned sometimes on here called the Daily Oracle Journal, because it gives you the chance to, kind of paraphrase what this message is about and what it means to you, and something to reflect back on. Because again, what happens is we read through these messages and sometimes they're so full of good stuff, something we really should read every day, especially when we're encouraging ourselves to make these changes in our life. And that journal really allows you a place to capture it, to capture your reflections, to capture your thoughts, your intuitive hits that you're getting, and the actions that you want to take, again, whether big or small. And this can be obviously any journal as well, but I do encourage you, if the message feels like it's digging something up in you or making you excited, scared, happy, sad, whatever you're feeling, if it's intense, record it, because you are creating your own little history here and your own evidence of who you are at the core, what your soul's trying to say, and who you are when you're in alignment. And since we pulled 2 cards today, I want to sit with those for a minute and see what else we can pull from them. The Follow Your Own Rhythm card was the first card, and the opening line stopped me. says, deep within, you are moved by an ancient, powerful force that cannot be tamed. That's your intuition. That's what we've been talking about this entire episode. Not a whisper you have to strain to hear. An ancient force. It's already in you and it's already moving. The card speaks directly to the framework we were building earlier, specifically the part about trusting your timing over everyone else's. The card says, you cannot be rushed or forced, nor can you be held back when it's time to burst forth. That's the answer to the person who has been waiting for certainty before they move. You can't be held back when it's time, and you'll know when it's time because you'll feel it in your bones. And then one of the last lines, what you will miss out on by trusting this is anxiety. What you will gain is peace. I really want you to hear that. The cost of trusting your intuition is anxiety. The cost of not trusting it, of staying in the deliberation, the second guessing, the waiting, is also anxiety. But only one of those paths moves you forward. So connect the inner restlessness and agitation, that feeling when new life calls you to create, to act, to step forward. Experience the intuitive nudge that's been sitting unanswered. And if you've been feeling that restlessness lately, that low hum of something wanting you to move on, this card is naming it. That's not anxiety. That's new life calling. And it's your intuition asking you to act. And then based on the card mentioning the inner trust card as well, I did go ahead and read the message because it ended up pairing beautifully. The inner trust card says, you know what you are doing. You have enough wisdom and intuition to place yourself more fully in the world. Even if you can't see the whole picture, even if you have no idea how it's all going to work out, you still have all the wisdom and intuitive ability you need to take one step at a time. That's like the entire episode in 2 sentences. And I like to sit with that feeling. If you picture yourself and just imagine, because remember how powerful imagination is, what your wisdom and intuition can provide for you, how courageous, how you can find certainty to move forward with each step, and what it would feel like to trust, if I take this next step, I know the next step will show up. And sit with that feeling to sort of help your muscles grow into this faith and this trust. And then one of the other lines, if you have been thinking of taking a leap of faith, whether in your personal life or your creative work, this oracle brings a particular message to trust your instincts and go for it. This is not a time for self-doubt or playing small. It's a time to get in touch with the courage, boldness, and daredevil within and take that step, big or small, into the future that is beckoning you forward. You have the wings to fly. Sometimes we don't realize it until we leap. That right there is so true. And not saying it's going to be easy to overcome it, but if we think of it as one small step at a time, that makes it feel a little bit easier. So again, I'm sure this stirred something in many of you. Some of you may feel excited and like you have a way forward, and some of you may feel some fear. Both responses are super valid. And I want to acknowledge that these cards can bring up a lot. Because if you felt a hell yes rising in you as I was reading, then take those steps. Or maybe you felt that wave of fear. Maybe you felt both at the same time. All of it is just information. So get curious, journal on it a bit. It's all your intuition talking. The excitement might be telling you something, and the fear is telling you something too. And that really matters. Again, whatever you felt, write it down, capture it. That feeling in this moment is part of your evidence. It's part of the record you've been building of who you are at the core and what your soul is trying to say. Here's a few reflection questions that you can journal on or spend some time with. Number 1, the Follow Your Own Rhythm card spoke about feeling the stirring of agitation and restlessness when new life is calling you to act. Is there an area of your life right now where you've been feeling that restlessness? What is it pointing toward? Number 2, the Inner Trust card said, even if you can't see the whole picture, you have all the wisdom and intuitive ability you need to take one step at a time. What is the one next step that you already know you need to take? Not the whole path, just the next step. Name it. Number 3, what came up for you emotionally as I read those cards today? Was it excitement, fear, sadness, relief? Whatever it was, sit with it. What is that feeling telling you about what matters most to you right now? Thank you for coming and showing up for this conversation today, because trusting yourself certainly is a practice and it does not happen all at once. It's built one small act of trust at a time, and every time you honor what you know and what your intuition is sharing, even before you're certain, you strengthen that relationship with yourself and the universe. And if you've been feeling like something bigger is shifting in you and you want some language for what it might be, I have a free guide called 5 Signs You're Beginning a Spiritual Awakening. It'll be linked in the show notes, or you can find it at oraclemornings.com/awakening. I hope you have a beautiful weekend and week ahead, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Oracle Mornings. Please take a moment and follow the show so you never miss an episode. Simply open the app you listen to podcasts on, such as Apple Podcasts, and hit the follow button. Your support means the world, and I'm so grateful that you choose to spend part of your day with me. And remember, you are a miracle.